Ladies and gentlemen, it is Morokai with 2 Eyes. We're back on every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 7 a.m. on Spotify and 4:30 p.m. on YouTube. Lee, you love Egypt.
I do love Egypt. No, it does. All the gods, actually.
You've got the biggest mouthful of thirsties. I'll let you finish it. I'll leave it.
You see what you said? No, I'll pick it back up again.
No, I'm happy to keep going, mate.
You're happy to keep going. No, big fan of Egypt. Actually, if you just don't laugh, you're going to have an issue.
No, you got this.
So,
you got this.
I'm a big fan of Egypt. Used to read up a lot about like Tutankhamun and the Egyptian gods, actually, as a kid. I had an Egyptology book.
I did too.
Actually, and that book was grouse. And then there was like that show about Tutankhamun as well on ABC. Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
Yeah, that show was good because it looked into the gods. But not talking about that. We want to talk about the pyramids. You've touched on them a bit in the past few episodes.
With our friend Alex. He's back.
He's back. He's joined us after dinner, actually.
Yeah. We've just finished a big session on Okami, and we all got bursties in our little frozy drinks.
So it was hard for me to talk because I just had so many bursties.
Yeah, it's hard for me to just sit still. I feel like I could throw up at any second.
More bursties.
I'm so full. You know what my brain's not full of? Knowledge about Egypt and conspiracy theories. Would you like to be one of those people that dig up what are they called?
Archaeologist.
There we go.
Would be sick.
It would be, wouldn't it?
But I think in like what you think it is not what it actually is. Like most jobs, really.
Yeah, there'd be that much failure.
Yeah, well, it's also not even that. Like, I think it's just like months of digging in dirt.
Yeah, knowing the right place to be.
And like, they've got to be so careful.
Oh, 110%.
Like, you imagine unearthing like some super rare dinosaur skeleton. Like, shit, I put my axe through it. Like,
do you know?
That's true.
Do you know in Tassie they found in one of their museums? I think there was an animal they had the bones of that no one could find. It went missing, and they found it 100 years later. It was something along the lines of an old red fox that went extinct, and they found it in the back of the museum. Like
that's ridiculous.
It was labelled wrong, so they thought they lost all factual evidence of this type of fox.
Yeah, right.
Can you imagine that? Someone just labels it wrong, and it's just
the uproar. The uproar.
Well,
it's your first day.
The pyramids are a weird one, but though, like how? What do you believe? Both of you.
Well, I don't know because I feel in the books and all that it's always like you see like slaves per se, like taking those blocks up those ramps. But in my those blocks are massive, like ridiculously massive. Like they would weigh so much, and you're telling me that you had like hundreds of people like pulling them up like this? Like no, surely not.
Well, I actually literally thought about this the other night, right? I would say I've got a cushy job in the way of like I go in an office, maybe I go outside, do some work, but it's nothing crazy. Had to get up in my roof, and during that process, it was hot. My knees were on the beat. Like it was just an awful experience. I was only up there for half an hour, and I thought, what hell is this? To pull tons of rock on your back in the burning sun, barefooted, just cloth around you, that's it. Day after day after day with hardly any food, any water, getting whipped if you're not doing the best job. Mate, I honestly think I'd kill myself.
It just doesn't make sense.
It makes no fucking sense.
It makes no sense.
I would be like, surely death is better than this.
Well, I think like the consensus now is that they weren't slaves, that they were workers, paid workers, but still, I don't believe it. I don't buy it.
Like, I'd be handing my resume out to other places.
There's got to be a better job.
Imagine they're pulling it as they're pulling the big rock. Like, I think I'm going to work my way up to management next week. Like, this is just a starting job.
Do you reckon I can control the whip?
Where do I sign up for that?
Well, I've heard a couple of newer theories. One is that they think they floated them up. And that's the other thing, right?
Oh, floated, okay.
The quarry of where this stone came from is nowhere near Egypt. Like, nowhere near.
Yeah.
Like, ages away.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I find the points of each, I can't remember the exact details, but the points of each of the pyramids somehow add up perfectly to each star in the universe and somehow
Orion's belt.
and they somehow add up to what's the outside area of the Earth? Like it perfectly adds up. And I watched a guy on Joe Rogan say like this, it just can't make sense.
No,
it's like it is to a precise point. That they all. He's like just can't add up.
Yeah, it's like how would they know that? Yeah, and they're like perfectly aligned with the Orion's belt.
And I think he even said something along the lines of today. He's like, if we tried to do that again today, he's like, do you know how hard that would be?
Yeah.
It would be so incredibly hard. And he's like, the fact that there was just people doing this, pulling it, we were like, nah, that makes sense. I think aliens.
I don't know if I think aliens, but this also kind of ties back into ancient civilizations that were more technically advanced than we think. Because what if, like one of, I think, what's his fucking name? Not Randall Carlson, but the other guy. What if, he was saying like, what if the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids, but they found the pyramids and then
true.
Like built on that? Because apparently the Sphinx, like apparently that was originally a lion, and then it was changed to the head to have the head of a man.
Oh, okay,
like
right.
That pharaoh.
Right.
Yeah,
that's very interesting.
That's the other thing. Going back to that giant flood, is apparently like the base of the Sphinx shows like marks in the soil of like a massive water deposit over time, which is interesting. But
Jesus, that is interesting.
That is, yeah, that's odd.
Yeah,
I couldn't do that.
I don't buy the whole. It was done by hundreds and thousands of people over a long time. Just no way.
Yeah,
no way.
I've always thought that it's like when you go to gods. I've always said that if in every single country Jesus was talked about, like God was talked about in the same way, I'd believe in it. But every country usually has their own different God. Like Buddhism, it could be anything. But do you know what is crazy? So many of them all had things like vampires.
And dragons.
And werewolves and dragons. They all had them.
Wendigos.
All these different cultures that never met.
Yeah, but
all had these same like monsters and like how.
Yeah, like samurais were fighting like dragons and stuff like that. Like, it is interesting.
Especially vampires. Vampires pop up all around the world.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Vampires do pop up a lot. Out of all of them, what would be the most believable, do you think? Like if one got discovered tomorrow, what would you be like? Well, that's nuts, but
I feel like some lizards out there look pretty different.
Well, a vampire could have been like a giant bat.
Well, that's also true.
Like think of like a massive, like man-sized bat.
Well, you got colossal squid.
Exactly.
Like the megalodon.
That's where they reckon the Kraken myth came from. Sailors' boats either getting attacked by giant squid, or they would see them at sea randomly.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they had this idea of a massive Kraken when it was just a giant squid.
Yeah.
Think about it. Giant squid take down sperm whales.
Yeah, true. That is
those old ships. Like, who knows? Who knows what they would go for?
That's so true. They're fucking huge. They are huge.
Oh, it's just crazy, like what could potentially be out there that hasn't been explored / discovered. Yeah, because even like I remember growing up as a kid, like I'd always YouTube like Sasquatch, and like barefoot, like those types of things as well. Even something like the Loch Ness Monster.
Interesting.
It's like everyone's saying like it's folklore, like it isn't real, but then there's also like no like hard evidence, like if to sort of play, I guess, like the other perspective.
Yeah.
Like we're just told like to not believe in that, more or less. It's like, oh no, don't be silly, like that wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
And stuff.
There's hard ones. I want you guys to continue on. I'm going to quickly strap on, and I'll be right back.
Are you serious?
Bloody hell.
There's a sticking in my throat.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh. My biggest one still to me is Area 51. And just like what, like you can't trespass.
That just scared the shit out of me.
You can't, like no trespass. Like what are they hiding from us?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like there's aerial things, but it's just all like vacant like land and stuff like that. And then they own like a property like next to Area 51 as well. So it's like, what? I know that they're saying that like that's military like stuff, like they're testing bits and bobs. Like, what else is there? Like, why is it so secretive?
It's interesting.
And stuff like that. And then, like, everything's, like, underground there as well. So it's like, you know, you hear, like, some stories about, like, what people, like, who have worked at Area 51 have seen, but then they're, like, not really meant to, like, sort of sign an NDA.
An NDA?
Yeah, is that what it is?
No,
an
NDA.
Fuck. NDA, sorry. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. Area 51 is an interesting one. It's like, was it just like a military testing place and then like...
Yeah, and then it's like changed for like worse or... And even like the classic UFO sightings or like crop circles that like people like seen.
Yeah. I 100% believe in aliens. There's no doubt.
Oh, there has to be.
No doubt in my mind.
There has to be. I completely agree with you on that. It's just whether a fact, if they've tried to make contact or...
If they're already here.
Yeah, true. Could even be like studying on us. I think the one that always gets me is like, how do we not know that like we're just like living, not necessarily like in a simulation, but like that we're like lab rats?
Yeah, 100%.
For a test for like other like...
Well, that's what I mean.
Other like I don't want to say like speed, but like, I don't know, like another, thing.
Well, that's what I'm
Another
saying
being.
about like, what if we actually are the aliens? Like an alien race came
Yeah, true.
and mixed DNA of apes and created us.
It's crazy to think about.
An experiment.
It's crazy to think about. The ones that always get plastered, though, on TikTok, it's more for me that it's always like the Rothschild family, because like how that's very like Squid Games like. But their parties also include like the masquerading masks and like just weird stuff, and like how they're above the government and all that, and then like the whole like Illuminati and like the people that are involved with like
It's weird.
the Illuminati. Like some celebrities are always like doing like Illuminati signs with like
They're always doing that.
and it's just like really like odd.
And then you have the celebrities that have like the mental breakdown.
Yeah,
like
well, even,
Kanye.
oh, mate. Yeah.
Even Jim Carrey, when he's like, I think he was on Kimmel or something, Jimmy Kimmel. He's like, come on, Jimmy, you know what I'm talking about. They own us all. Like, and he was going like off, and you can see Jimmy's like really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he's like going off. He's like, they'll kill whoever they want, you know, and you need a sacrifice. And it's like, what?
Yeah, it's just really odd. And all that. And like, why of all places then to speak out? Because he's retired from acting as well.
Shortly after that, his wife died.
Really?
Or his ex-wife, yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I was waiting for Luke to come back for this one. Are you still recording? Yeah.
I stopped recording the whole thing. Did you hear how much I threw up just then?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Bad.
It was literally all I did. Go on.
I got a spit shot out of me because someone walked past us. Like, bah! But nah. Fuck, what were we talking about?
You're waiting for Luke to come back.
Brilliant. That doesn't.
I don't know whether it was about the pyramids or like there's another species among us. Jim Carrey speaking out about the Illuminati.
Yeah, we went a bit off topic while you were gone. Went a bit off.
Hey, that's what Morokai's about.
Or about like the elites having a club. Have you guys ever heard of Bohemian Grove? Alex Jones exposed it.
Oh, I know. Oh, sorry.
Is that not weird as fuck to you boys?
Bohemian Grove. Can you explain it to me?
So Alex Jones, it was way back, like 20 years ago. He like infiltrated it and filmed it. And so it's a private club that like once a year, sorry, I got a burp. All these celebrities and like presidents and really high up people gather.
Oh.
And he took video footage of them all like dressing up in robes and like watching like a dancing around like a demon skull, like a goat demon, and like all this stuff.
Oh my God.
And it's like, why are they doing that? Like,
It's odd.
what?
Who's
Look it up.
strange.
Google it.
Is this something that was like? Have you seen that video? And it's like Katy Perry, like, MK Ultra.
What were they called?
Well, that's a real thing, man.
Yeah,
That was real experiments.
like which is fucking crazy.
Do you know what's the crazy thing with him too, though, Alex Jones? Some things like the Epstein Island that he called out a long time ago and I believe is true. But then you got the other things he's called out, like school shootings. So it's hard with
And
him.
they're fake and shit.
Yeah, it's very hard with him. It would be very hard with many of those reporters because sometimes you'd be thinking, fuck, they're just spitting like crap. Like they don't know what they're talking about. And then there might be things that they're actually onto and they're getting like messages and death threats and things like that saying, do not be a part of this, don't touch this. Same with
100%.
Scientology.
Yeah, Scientology is weird, isn't it?
Scientology is very weird. They can get very protected. You know the guy off that 70s show, Hyde? He had a heap of sexual allegations against multiple women, joined Scientology, and
All disappeared.
it was all disappeared, but it's only just got brought up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just got brought up again.
That's so interesting.
Because I remember hearing about him going on trial and shit.
Mm.
Like rape allegations and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's who you know. There's a guy I know, his brother went to jail because he was in a fight and it was classified as a king hit, but on the brother's end, pretty much he got jumped by like a fair few guys and then he swung and hit one. The guy hit his head on the concrete and died. This guy's family was apparently part of the court system,
Oh.
Okay.
so he got 20 years. Like he got a massive amount of time in jail. But I think from what I've heard, if their family wasn't in the court system, didn't know people in that environment, it would have been like 5.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's who you know. It's always who you know.
Oh, 110%.
That's the
it is.
life. Everything. In everything. With things with money, work, law. It's who you know.
That's why you get
That's how you get ahead too.
Well, they always say your net worth is your network. Your network is your net worth.
I just think there's so much stuff that just going to just so much stuff to do with Hollywood, like the back end stuff that like us normals don't know, but like that we just don't like. It's a whole different world,
It's money, man.
a whole different ball game. And like you're hearing about like the celebrities that have sacrificed their souls as well for fame. Like it's like Nicki Minaj has sold her soul for fame. Like people like Drake, like that's how they stay relevant, and that's why they're always appearing like in the charts as well. Like just so much like shit.
What did you think of Kanye talking about? Oh, that was brought up.
Oh,
Sort of
vaguely,
vaguely.
very vague.
Do you think he's mentally ill, or do you think there's something more to that?
I used to think he was mentally ill. But what if he's not mentally ill and he's trying to expose it, you know? Like he's acting crazy.
He's acting very crazy.
Like, who just throws away $1 billion deals and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, sorry, he goes.
Well, it's a weird. It's not a weird, but it's a. I can imagine a different situation being that popular and not having to worry about money. Like money's never going to be an issue for you.
Could you imagine? I'd love that.
Well, isn't the rumor though that after what Kanye did, now he's missing?
Is he?
I swear reports came out that he was missing.
I don't even know fully what he did. I know he went on some like anti-Semitic rant.
Yeah, and then he went on Alex Jones.
Did he?
Yeah, because Alex Jones was trying to come and even Alex Jones was like, oh, I think you're,
It's a bit much.
you're doing a bit much here.
You know you're in strife with Alex Jones.
He was saying he liked Hitler and he understood what he did.
That's not good.
Nope.
That is not good. Speaking of Hitler, remember how I said, did you ever hear the rumour that a lot of the Nazis escaped
I did, and they found it
in Argentina?
Yes.
Yeah, and apparently there's like this weird part of Argentina that like speaks German and stuff, and like it's like what? Like,
Yeah, that is a strange one.
It's fucking odd.
and tell you what, like with the not trusting governments and stuff, why? What was that?
Ambulance.
So you think they're on? Why is it like with Osama bin Laden when he was killed, and their official statement was he was killed and then dumped into the ocean? Like what?
What is it?
Yeah.
They said that they captured him, murdered him, and then dumped him in the ocean.
Really?
Like, why would you dump him in the ocean?
Yeah. That's like 9/11. 9/11 has that many conspiracy theories.
Dude.
The one how one of the planes went into the Pentagon.
But there was no plane wreckage.
Oh my god, there was heaps of stuff.
Well,
Even
that-
some of those missing planes.
Yeah, but even obviously rest in peace, but even with the 9/11 thing though, like hearing like America did it themselves,
It'd be interesting.
like
The weirdest
in
part
that
about
way.
the 9/11 thing is the day before, and the United States
many-
Treasurer mentioned that there was $1 trillion missing. $1 trillion went missing from the budget from the government.
shit.
Next day 9/11 happens, no one ever mentions it again.
I think it's crazy as well how you hear about all the celebrities that were meant to be like on those flights.
Yeah, Seth MacFarlane.
Well, yeah, and they're like, oh yeah, I bet I slept in, or like this happened. So
Wasn't
I
he
couldn't
meant to be on
like, make my
MH?
flight
I'm pretty sure Second McFarlane was meant to be
on that
on the
mission.
one on the
That's
missing plane as well.
Yeah, he was meant to. There's you know how we're talking about Kim Jong Un. He had it would have been like a cousin or something, right? And in an airport, because obviously their family members don't go out too much, he was in an airport and he literally got killed by like a dart to the back of the neck or something crazy, something weird. And I want to know how those plannings go. Like to plan to assassinate, like JFK.
Yeah, do you reckon that was a
setup?
crazy gunman, or do you reckon it was the CIA?
So I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard that as well, how it was like because JFK wanted to expose something.
Well, apparently he was really against the CIA.
Okay.
Like he wanted to disband the CIA, get even weirder, right? So you know how we have federal banks, Federal Reserves,
Yes.
which is like the country bank.
Yep.
So way back, there was like a group on voting on a Federal Reserve, if we should have independent banks or like one Federal Reserve that controls it. Like 3 or 4 people were into it, and there was like 3 that weren't, right? One of them that was super in it was like the owner of the Titanic. Anyway, day before Titanic, him and all the other ones that were meant to be on it that were for the Federal Reserve pulled out. The ones that didn't want the Federal Reserve and were stopping it were on the Titanic.
Oh,
Wow.
What happened to the Titanic?
yeah.
Like the next year after the Titanic sunk, Federal Reserve came in.
That's fucking crazy.
If you look back through history with a skeptical mind, you start going, holy shit. Like, it could all be trash. It could all be trash. Coincidences. But, like, there comes a point when you just, like, something's a bit sus there. Like,
There's so much.
Epstein's camera's being turned off and the guard's not being there. Like, it's...
Well, imagine how much planning went into Epstein's assassination.
If he's actually dead.
Well, I think it's more
How much
crazy.
planning goes into setting up to make sure he's not actually dead.
I think it's more crazy that someone like a Donald Trump became the president of America. I really thought for sure if anyone was going to have any more assassination, it would have been him to keep him quiet, just because of how sporadic he is as a person.
Unless he's controlled opposition.
Well, that's true.
Because you got to think, end of the day, Trump was a billionaire as well, you know?
Yeah, but
Or
that's
multi-million. Like, he's...
No, you're spot on.
When do you think these people, surely they set up contingency plans?
In case they die.
Yeah, I would think if you're in a position like that where you know what's going on, you have the balls to say to whatever higher ups, or like the, say JFK, the CIA,
If I died,
and just go, I'm just letting you all know, I have put everything that I know here on videotape. There is setups that if I die, this is going to be going out, because I do not want to. There's people that like we were talking about, the guy who got here, figured out how to make cars run on water, apparently, and then he died. I could think if I was close to someone, I would go to the media constantly. He was not suicidal. He would never want to kill himself. I cannot express this enough. And sometimes, yeah, there's just some ways that people fall downstairs in a weird way and their necks somehow broke. There's professional killers out there, and that fucks me up.
I would hate to think of how many people have gone missing or have been made to look like a suicide that were killings. Not even from like professional killers, just like psychopaths that know how to do it well, you know?
Yep.
Like,
there's, do you know what one I find the most disgusting is in North Korea, when somehow tourists, it could even be deliberate, but no, like how they accidentally disrespect the country and then they get literally tortured. There was one guy who went over there, and I think it was something like he was in a pub or he's drinking somewhere, and he grabbed the floor mat, or he grabbed a piece of artwork on the wall.
yeah, the American bloke, yeah.
Yeah, and somehow it was disrespectful, or maybe it was being disrespectful.
It was at the king, it was of Kim Jong-un, I think.
Yeah.
And he took it off the wall.
And then he went missing. His family were trying to get him back. He's like, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? They finally got him to, I guess, go live on television, or just a live message to say, I'm all and well. This guy, they made him blind, deaf, and dumb to the point of like...
He's a vegetable.
He was literally a vegetable. And then I think he died, didn't he?
I don't know if he's dead, but I know, because he was locked up for a bit, and then America got involved because he was an American citizen. I think it was during the Trump time when Trump was making better relationships. And when he came back, he was not.
No, he was
done.
They tortured him so badly.
Like, he was brain dead.
That's crazy.
What about did you see that, I think her name, is going to butcher this, but Brittany Gardner, the woman NBA player.
The WNBA player,
she got caught with a bit of weed while in Russia. And I think it was medicinal, or it was just it wasn't even... It wasn't a setup where it's like I'm sneaking weed in. It was somehow her setup, or she forgot to put it in a bag, whatever it may be. Anyway, the smallest amount ever that shouldn't be considered jail worthy, they put her in jail. And America just traded her. They got her out of jail for a guy in Russia who was like their main arms dealer and known as like the General of Death or something along those lines. How is that a trade?
One of those worst things too. Apparently there was I don't know if they were American, probably not American soldiers, but I think Americans that went to fight for Ukraine that were captured in Russia, and they don't trade for them, but they traded for this WNBA star because it was like publicity and like a big thing. And it's like, dude, like how pissed would you be?
You know, it pissed me off. I saw videos come out of her and she didn't even look that appreciative.
Yeah, right.
Like I would be like thinking, I'd just be forever grateful just to get out of a fucking Russian prison.
Like, did you? I don't know. This is going back a couple of years. There's a video that surfaces online where this guy, he was overseas with his mates, and they were all meant to go back on the flight or whatever. They were all going back, and he was like, "No, I'll stay another day." So he stayed another day. He went to the airport and he texted his mum saying, like, "Mum, I need help. Like, you need to help me. People after me," or whatever. He goes into like the airport or maybe a train station, and like you see the camera footage, he's walking towards it, and then all of a sudden he just drops his bags and runs the other way. This guy has never been seen. There's no word on like what's happened to him or anything.
So
that is crazy.
I remember a story from like Brazil, and this isn't like crazy government or anything. Like I'm pretty sure he just got involved with bad drug
cartel
people.
or something.
Yeah, and him and his mates were like partying in Brazil or something, and then I think he might have even gotten in a fight with someone at like a bar over a girl, or maybe he like hit on the wrong girl or something, and like his mates all went back to the hotel, and I think he's like, "Oh, I'm just going to go for a walk," and then like a week later they just found his body.
That's fucked.
Floating.
It's fucked if you piss off the wrong people. There was a YouTuber in Mexico who got fucked up at a bar and like made a quick like YouTube short saying like fuck the cartel or fuck this or as it like a joke. 2 hours later, cartel come in and just shoot his head off.
Cartel's no joke.
They're not. Do you see the disruption that's happening with them at the moment? Because they caught in Mexico, the police took El Chapo's son. And they've tried to do it before, and they weren't successful because the minute they tried to do it and take him to this certain location, the cartel just hoarded up and just got him back straight away. This time they were able to get him
away
to an airport or somewhere where it's like he's gone. Cartel literally are just tearing up Mexico, and they've killed like 33 people in day one, like burning crap.
Right.
And then I saw a video that the Texas police are going to get involved, and like a full on this guy like is like, "We're not scared of you, we're coming after you." That all sounds terrifying.
I'd be scared of cartel.
I'd be terrified.
Don't get me wrong, it's horrible, but can you imagine being that leader when the cops have arrested you and your gang is that tough and that powerful that the cops have no option but to give you back? Because like you would feel like bloody Jack Sparrow. You know, like...
Yeah, there's some people who are just like have that much strength and that much power.
But the cartel's scary.
So I think like death isn't a worry. Hold on. What I mean is, if you're police and you're going after this certain group, and you're like, I value my life, and that you know this group, like they don't value anything. They're just like, I don't care if I kill you. I don't care if I die.
Yeah,
like it's just how I was. The group
Brought
I'm
up.
in. Yeah. When with police, you're like, well, I can't shoot to kill. I just still got to be careful. Oh, it'd be hard.
I think in that sort of instance, Mexican police don't have to be as...
It'd be different over there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I reckon if you're dealing with cartels, they're probably like... You
have to.
I mean, they're not going to be as ruthless as the cartels, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, because it's so... Because over here, you've got someone who's like got a knife in Melbourne, and to shoot them is literally like... you'd have to get stabbed. It's the last resort, and then it'd be all over the
I
news.
suppose Australia, in that sense, like we've more got like bikies.
Yeah, and I feel
They're
like
falling off, I reckon.
they are a bit, but I also feel like bikies tend not to bother your average citizen.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they
I
don't.
agree with that.
If you're not in their world, unless you like go up to one and disrespect them.
Yeah, obviously.
If you're like, I
looking
feel
for
like the
trouble.
gangs and cartels in Mexico, like, are a lot more dangerous to
Oh,
just
shit,
civilians. You know?
I reckon that'd be the same as in Brazil, though.
Oh, 100%. The
I'd be
favelas are
shit
short,
scared
man.
to be in Brazil.
Well, I know in Mexico, one of the new big cartels coming up. I don't know their name, but I remember they're in the area that Escobar like controlled, and when he got taken down, it left it wide open for other cartels to take over.
Yep.
And apparently, this cartel is so ruthless. Like the way you get like brought in as an official member is you have to, I think, cut open the chest of someone alive and eat their heart, like take a bite from their heart. And that is like the test to become like a respected like member. Like that is insane.
That is nuts.
That's too much for me.
Like how do you combat that? Like those people do not care if they live or die. Like
I find it.
I can't even think of like trading minds with someone like that. Like I can't even think of the thought of
how you get in that space.
not caring about life and being able to take a life so easily.
And in such a gruesome way. Like I feel like it's one thing to kill someone, but that is next level.
They were always the craziest videos, the ones like the cartel like cutting up like
That's
people's,
one
like,
good thing about Facebook these days. You don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
You used to. I used to see beheadings and stuff like
When
that.
I was like 12,
Yeah.
like on Facebook, you go on just scrolling through, and yet the big cartel like murder videos on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's like, what is going on?
I remember. What are your thoughts on the whole? Obviously, like Al Qaeda and I suppose just like Middle East and like Afghanistan and all that, like Iraqi
ISIS
and
and
all
stuff.
that. Yeah, but like
I think
so many of their weapons are from the Americans.
dude, that withdrawal.
Like-
Oh my god, that withdrawal was so bad.
They lost so much. Like,
Yeah.
what?
I think even Trump was saying he's like the whole thing was now pointless. The whole thing was
Literally.
pointless. I mean, all that work you've done and now it's gone.
Yeah.
And you would see the videos where their people are like using the gym equipment and like going through all their stuff, and the next thing you know, they've got all these fucking guns, and then one of them's piloting a plane.
And it's not even guns, man. It's like Black Hawk helicopters.
Yeah.
Like Hummers. Like, they've got so much equipment. Drones.
Do you
Like-
know what made it the most insane for me is when they got a plane, like an army plane,
Yeah.
to take American soldiers out of there, and there was people in that community jumping the fence, getting on a plane, and literally strapping themselves to the wing, so that when it took off, they would rather take their chances trying to hold on to a plane with their bare hands in the fucking air than stay with what's going to change and what's going to happen in that
And you can
country.
see them falling from the plane in the video.
Oh, I've seen it, yeah.
It's shocking. Like, the plane's in the air high, and you just see people dropping. It's shocking.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was, like, it made no sense. Like, why just all of a sudden, bang, we're out, and, like, we'll leave the Afghan military in charge.
Yep.
But the Afghan military, like, I
They've
heard
got
it explained,
overrun. Slash like
well, they're outnumbered, outgunned. What, were you going to fight for like that? Like,
I did hear
you
on
just
the
cave as well.
apparently they're not paid well either.
well, I did
Yeah,
hear
so
on
quite
the other
corrupt.
end that, like, to play devil's advocate, apparently when American soldiers were over there and trying to teach them, like, the whole point of it was for them to get the better people, like the people who want to make sure they're protecting the community.
Yeah.
They train them up and they build them up. Apparently there just weren't enough people over there that wanted to do it.
Yeah.
They just relied on the Americans too much. So when they were gone, it was like, oh shit.
Well, it took a day. Like, a day after the
ruin
Americans
it.
were gone.
Yeah.
Like, bang.
Yeah.
It's just fucked.
And the money behind them, man. Like, when people talk about, like, ISIS and stuff, or is it? It's the Taliban, isn't it? It's not
Well,
ISIS.
Taliban, but it was Taliban. But I feel like since Osama bin Laden's passing, it's now more ISIS that we hear, not so much like the Taliban.
Yeah, well, I remember just seeing videos. They're like promotional videos of like their show of force. They're all like loaded up in like the most expensive Toyota Land Cruiser utes and everything. Those things are like $100,000.
Yeah,
like,
expensive.
and they had heaps of them.
Tons.
It's like,
Fucking tons.
where's that money coming? I guess taking whatever they want, I guess. But
Speaking of like having too much money, what's the country that are legitimately building that glass?
Saudi Arabia, the line.
The line.
Yeah, man.
I've seen a lot about that.
That is wild.
They have so much money, it's insane.
I'm going to look up the stats on it because me and one of my mates that I went fishing with the other day were looking up the stats on it, and dude, insane.
Insane.
Yeah, but like, how's it going to work?
Mate, they have that much money that they could make anything work. I don't think it doesn't. I don't think it will. I think it's going to be something that they're going to try, and it just...
The line to me, though, like, for when it's meant to be built and finished by, it looks way too... Like, that looks like it's out of a fucking video game or like a sci-fi movie.
It does look like it's out of... But that's the same as the wall in America that tried to keep immigrants
Yeah.
out. I mean, you would have thought that would have got done, but that didn't get done. And
true.
then I've seen videos of, like, the wall itself, and it's just, like, it looks pretty crappy. Like, it doesn't look like a proper...
Yeah, it's not like the Great Wall of China or something.
No, that's insane.
That is crazy. Like, the actual, like, 7 wonders of the world are pretty, like, full on. And then, like, the 7 wonders are, like, is it the ancient world? Something like that? Like the Hanging Gardens? Stuff like that. And, like, the Aztecs, like the pyramid, like those ones as well. Like the Aztec pyramids. They're pretty impressive.
Very impressive. So you want to hear some stats on the line?
Hit me.
Right. So it's estimated to cost $500 billion.
So real quick, let's remember that when people compare a million to a billion, it's something like, I'm going to butcher this, right? But it's something along the lines of a million seconds. Oh, what is it? This is important. Sorry, because people don't understand how much of a difference there is between
a million and a billion.
A million and a billion. Let me write the difference.
Like, it's massive, like huge.
A million and a billion, and then we'll go on to you. Okay, here it is. People don't have a strong initiative sense of how big 1 billion is than 1 million. 1 million seconds is about 11 days. 1 billion seconds is about 31.5 years. 11 days are 31.5 years. So when people think that money-wise, it's like, it's pretty crazy, but same. No, it's like so much more.
Massive, man. Like, so
500 billion.
billion.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I think it's due to be done by 2050. So in our lifetimes, the length of it. So we'll start with the width. It's going to be 200 meters wide the whole way, 500 meters tall, and take a guess at how long, boys. Hit me with a number that you think's reasonable.
20 kilometers.
No, it's like long as fuck. I reckon it's like something like in the thousands.
No, not that long.
No?
A lot more than 20, a lot less than 1,000.
So what, like
170 kilometers long.
170 Ks?
Fucking hell.
That is long.
Half a K tall, 200 meters wide, and 170 Ks.
200 meters wide is nuts.
Yeah. It's going to have like a bullet train through the middle, I think.
Yeah, and it's meant to, like, everything's like real easy access. Like, everything that you need is meant to, like, be with...
Well, they anticipate it to hold 9 million people. But, like, that is insane.
How the fuck does this even get brought up? And then when it gets brought up, how does all these people agree to it? And then when they agree to it, where do you even start with the foundation of building this? Like, who do you even fucking hire?
I got no idea. Like, I seriously, it baffles me that, like, something like that is going to be, like, in existence.
I think they've already started it. I'm trying to find photos.
No, I think they have, because there's been satellite footage of it.
And you can see where they're digging.
The trucks are digging it at the moment. So there's, like, all different types of trucks moving, equipment and everything. So what happens if something, like, flies into it?
Well, that's the thing, because it's meant to be like a mirror.
That's the photos on it, because I've only ever seen the images of it on TikTok, like, and stuff like that. Like, that's where I first heard of it, and when I looked at it, I was like, "This looks like something from, like, an actual movie."
It does.
Like, I didn't think that it was, like, actually going to, like, be a real life thing.
They've started digging it.
To be fair, I didn't think like there's that game like called Video Games or something where this guy like puts on a headset and he's in VR and like he's racing and he's playing against like Halo characters and all this kind of crap. Now at the moment, VR is getting more and more detailed and more intense.
It is.
Give it another 5 years where it's going to be like people already got the VR where you can run on a platform and like run around.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's like they're going to improve everything sooner.
Well, that's even the future like of fuck.
Yeah,
That's what they want,
stupid.
and that's how they've started already. Even the amount they've dug,
Yeah,
insane.
it's
Like they're in a
crazy.
desert. Like
Yeah, but how do you even get to that as well, though?
thing.
And then like you're meant to be like living in that line.
The thing is too, though, you know how much they talk about like green and carbon footprint and stuff. Yes, that thing is meant to be like really good energy efficiency once it's built. Think of the amount of metal and like effort needs to go in to build something like that.
But then how many people are are they going to make it affordable for people to live in?
I mean,
And then
Or
like
is it
the
like an upper
sun,
class thing?
the sun, like how's the weather affected by the people that live in there?
I couldn't see anyone being poor living in the line.
no, I don't think you could. It's going to take 500 billion to make.
Is that where like the rich and the famous then go to live there?
Well, the thing is, though, is it like a Noah's Ark thing? Do they know something we don't?
True.
Well, they got the money for it.
I just don't understand why you would do it. Like, there's showing off being like, yeah, we're rich, and then there's that.
Yeah.
That is a bit too.
Because isn't Saudi Arabia also? No, I'm thinking. What am I thinking of? Oh, what's the other like? It's Middle Eastern, but like super like wealthy.
Dubai.
Dubai. I'm thinking of Dubai. I was thinking about like the tall towers and like the hotel over there. It's like insane.
Do you know what everyone thinks we have a issue with, but it's the other way around? Everyone thinks we're having too many kids. Apparently, we're not having enough.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're in a bit
Yeah,
of a
that new
crisis.
the new wave coming through. Yeah, like there's a lot of people like don't really want kids.
Yeah,
Well, also think about it. Like, the cost of living is
Oh well,
impacting people
and
having
it's going to
kids.
continue going on.
But also, once all the baby boomers, sad as it is, retire or die off, like that was such a big generation. Like, we haven't had a
Yeah,
population boom like that since. So, like, think of all the things like pension, tax. Like, it's just going to drop. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if by the time we were old enough for the pension, it didn't exist.
yeah, true. And the pension age is increasing as well.
It's at like 70 for men.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I think so. It's pretty
Like,
ridiculous.
for a man to reach 70, that's a good age for a man.
Oh, most definitely. No, I completely
These
agree
days.
with that.
yeah, shit. What is it? Oh, I always thought with old age, is it even worth going past those years? Sometimes you see
Yeah.
people and they just don't do. They're not doing anything.
Depends on the person. Like, some people are like, yeah, I want to live to like 100, but like, if you're not moving after like 90 and you need someone to wash you, like,
Well, what is it with some people that live to 100 and past, and then you hear about the lifestyle because so many people are like, oh, what's the secret of, living longer? And some will be like, I smoke every day,
smoke, drink.
I smoke, drink, I do this, I do that, and it's like, what
My
are you talking
my
about?
good mate's grandpa, he lived to 99, and he like every single day since he was like young would like sniff salt.
What?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know how much exactly, but it was always like he was always sniff some salt.
Like bath salt?
No, like just like table salt.
Yeah, right.
And he actually lived till 99, and he was rarely sick as well. Like his immune system was like decent and stuff, and like he was still driving. I think at maybe like 95, 96.
Think about all these people that have these hidden gems that, like certain tribes, and they might have this thing where, I don't know, there's a thing they do with a fucking coconut, and they have the best fingernails ever. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I reckon there's different areas where different people, if somehow we gathered all that information together, where some countries have the best, like, hair growth or the best strength.
Well, I suppose it's in the sense of like, I'm not trying to be racist here, but you always, whenever like you hear people talking about like Asian, it's like like how young they always look as well, like, and their
do
skin's
look
like so.
beautiful.
But then a lot of Asians want to have like really white skin, like a lot of like us, like Europeans.
yeah.
Whereas like we're like, no, like we want to be more tan, like natural, like usually. So like, that's a really crazy thought. And I think it's also still crazy that there's civilizations out there that still haven't even had other human contact.
Yeah, I know.
Where, like, if they see human, like, their reaction is to attack and kill. And if they see, like, a drone, like, they'll throw shit at the drone to make it come down because they've never seen one before. Like, they wouldn't even know what that is.
I did see a guy, he went to one of those remote islands and tried to convert them to Jesus.
Yeah.
Got murdered.
That was the Central Island. Apparently, like, you're not allowed to go to that island because they will kill you. Like, I've heard even there was fishermen, not even on the island. They were just anchored their boat near the island and they swam out and came out on boat in the middle of the night and murdered the fishermen. They don't want anyone. I don't know, like, who knows what they believe we are, you know? Like, they might think we're demons or something. Like,
yeah, shit.
Imagine never, like, only ever seeing your own people. And, like, they're all dark skinned on Central Island. Like, they're in, like, near India, I think.
Yeah.
And then imagine one day there's someone standing on your beach speaking some weird language, fully white. You'd think it's an alien.
Yeah,
well,
true.
There was a guy. I watched the Netflix series and it was fucking awesome. It was horrible, but it was about how this father, he grabbed one of his teenage daughters and locked her under the house. Like, it was kind of, he set up this little room under the home that his wife didn't know about, and he locked his...
I know what you're talking... I don't know the name, but I've seen this on TikTok as well. I know, yeah.
And he trapped his daughter in there, and obviously he did horrible things with her, but she then got pregnant with, like, a couple of kids, and she was in that room that was less than this lounge room for 20 years or something. He had her locked up in there. Right?
Insane.
So she raised her kids to the age of, think, maybe 13 or 14 until she was able to escape. But those kids never knew anything outside those walls. And I also found it funny that if they're not explained that there is more than out, that's their perception. So that they could possibly, it didn't how the movie went, but they could possibly have been happy if nothing else was explained to them, that there was no outside. Like, this is life and this is how you got to enjoy it. Because imagine if you thought that was your life, you don't know.
Do you think you boys, say we'd never known technology, we were just in the bush, living wild, you hunt for your food, you live in a little hut, do you think if you'd never known modern life, you would enjoy it?
I think... me personally, I don't think so. But as a generalisation, I think probably.
See, I think I would love it, but now knowing things like where I live, like if there's big storms and stuff, which was happening quite regularly not long ago, like we'd lose power, internet regularly. We still lose internet regularly because NBN sucks. But it's like you're back in the dark ages. I don't know what to do. Like, I've got a ton of jobs to do around the house. I've got books I can read. I've got candles, torches for whatever. But I just lay on the bed staring at the ceiling.
I will admit with that completely. The minute the internet somehow goes out, it's like I just kick off and I'm like, what do I do? Until what the fuck am I doing until it comes back on?
Literally.
When reality, there's so much shit outside to do. There is heaps of stuff you could do.
I literally have 1,001 jobs to do at my joint.
Yeah.
And some of them I actually want to do too, but
I think it's just so reliant on it always being there though as well. Because like even it's the same as me. Even like when the internet goes out, or like I'll stay somewhere without Wi-Fi. My like mum and dad are always like, "Oh, you'll be right, mate. Like you just have to use your like mobile data and all that." And it's like, yeah, true, but like it's almost like weird to like go somewhere and there isn't internet. It's just like what?
It's weird.
What do you mean? Like there's no Wi-Fi?
There's been a couple of times my car's broke down and they need battery. It's weird to me if I couldn't just call up RACV and get them to come within 45 minutes. Everything's so easy and accessible with your phone, whatever you want to do. I could somehow order tomorrow custom dog treats to this house.
It's also
do whatever the fuck I want.
It's also pretty scary how much information our phone, everyone's phone holds.
Do you think we're getting stupider?
Which is pretty crazy.
yeah, 100%.
Because when our parents would have to learn something,
well, there's no YouTube.
They would have to get a book and they would have to repeat and repeat and repeat until it is actually in your brain. we went through school, and especially right now, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste.
Yeah.
You're not actually absorbing it. Now with the stuff I was telling you, like all the AI that you got, no one's absorbing the information. I feel like everyone's just going to be worse and worse.
It's a tough one because, like, I feel like the internet has made us smarter because we can.
There's so much knowledge at our fingertips.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can learn any skill at the click of a button, but you rely so heavily on it. It's like if that was taken away from us one day, would we be able to still do things, or would we just, fail miserably? Because, I mean, my first, especially like renovating my house, if there's something I don't know how to do, even if I have a basic idea, first thing I do, I jump on YouTube and I look up a tutorial.
Yep.
And like I look for advice and then I'll go do
forms.
it. Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so true.
Another question: what is the internet?
I don't know.
Like, have you ever actually thought about that? Like, what is it?
I don't understand any.
Where is it?
I don't know.
Yeah. Then how did all the information get put on there as well?
Like,
and then, like, it's like when you go to Google, like, why are certain things like the first result?
well,
Is
that's
that because,
targeted.
Yeah, but is that also because like that's the most trustworthy, like the trustworthy one where everyone's like, yeah, I agree with that link.
Or is it more paid for?
Yeah,
Or paid for. I know you can pay
like
to have your like website put
because
on.
it's pretty interesting when you look at it from that. And then there's also a whole other side of it, like the dark web in and of itself. That's like
Well, 4chan was pretty bad.
pretty
when
like
4chan was
frowned
up.
upon.
Is it still going?
I don't know.
I'm just going to do a test while we're here. Dog food, dog food, dog food, dog food.
I've seen this. It happens all the time.
Dude, 100% your phone listens to things you say and
does.
search.
Oh, most
definitely
definitely.
does.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
The amount of times, for instance, I bought a whiskey for my sister for Christmas or something. Never heard of this whiskey before. I like the look of it. I said the name of the whiskey, Woodford Reserve, right? Said it once when I was buying it. I bought it, purchased it on my card. The next week, all my targeted ads on like Facebook, Instagram, Woodford Reserve, Woodford Reserve, Woodford Reserve. I'm like, what is going on?
Yep. I heard that there's companies that pay for that data.
100%.
And it could be anything from you made that purchase, so they purchase the info from your bank. I don't know if that can work. I don't know if banks do it, but all I know is that there's companies out there that purchase your info to do with your purchasing and what you say.
Have you ever actually read a terms and conditions agreement?
Fuck no. We said this last
Yeah,
week,
no.
didn't we? Not
No,
one.
you just hit the box and say I accept.
I don't know because I didn't watch the episode, but apparently Joe Rogan went through the TikTok terms and conditions. Apparently, in that terms and conditions agreement, you give permission for them to access computers that don't even have TikTok on it, like in your household, that are connected to your internet and stuff. Like what?
Yeah. And
That
no
is
one-
scary.
think about how many things that get slipped under the rug unless a massive influencer or someone of popularity talks about it. There'll be so many things that we have no idea are completely fucked because someone with 100 followers is talking about it. But if we saw it, we'd be like, you're kidding me.
Well, that's why I say I look back at historical events and go, is that how it happened or did it even happen? Because back then, the news controlled what people knew. If the news said this has happened, everyone goes, Jesus, you seen the news?
Yeah, true.
These days, you have the internet. You have people,
people
from
are
all around the
divided.
world, people deep diving going, hang on a minute, that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, exactly.
People with conflicting views, people that can be like, oh, yeah, this happened, but this is another view of it. That's not how it played out. You know what I mean? Like,
No, you're spot on.
like our parents and stuff would have just taken the news at their word every single time. Where I feel like most people these days, if you talk to them, they'll go, the news is a heap of shit.
Yeah, and I feel like nowadays as well, like a lot of people will actually like do their own like. Yes, the media might say or portray someone in some light or whatever, but then a lot of people are also like, oh, I'm just going to do my own research on this as well.
Yeah, 100%.
I've always
Whereas
said,
in the past, you spot on, like, if the news said that, I don't know, Michael Jackson touched children, you're like, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
I've always said though that if you want to believe something on the internet, you can do enough Googling to make it.
Oh, 100%.
If you want to believe real, flat Earth,
Yeah.
you can dive deep enough to make it real for yourself. There's so many people when they go like to shop. Think of all the trouble we had in shopping centres. Like if someone steals or if someone did something wrong and they come back the next day that we had to deal with because they've done all their Googling. Anyone can find the answers. Somehow they can twist it to find the answer they need with Google. Even if there's only about 2% of it that's on their end, they can find it. And I always feel like you could find the answers you need even if they're not correct.
Even the fact like Big Brother's always watching.
Yeah.
In a sense, like...
Well, these days there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
If you were Wanted, like that TV show Wanted, whatever it was, shocking show. But it highlighted the fact that, you know, if you've committed a crime and the police want you, you can't use your bank. So unless you've got bulk cash, you got no money. You can't use public transport because they can look at cameras. Like, there's so much stuff. You can't drive on toll roads with your number plate. Like, you can't drive on most roads with your number plate.
Isn't China the biggest one where they've got a camera on every street, or is it Japan?
China.
It's
China.
one of them.
China has a camera on every single
And
street.
they have facial recognition cameras.
Yeah, and have they banned, like, it's like banned Facebook or something like that as well?
China have their
Like, they
own...
don't
They
like
have
it.
their own social...
They have their
currency
own... Yeah, like,
system or
they don't have YouTube.
Yeah, no, because I swear I remember, like, it was like some Americans went over there or whatever like that, and they went to use Facebook, and then like people like knocking on the door, being like, "We know that you're on Facebook. Like, get off Facebook. Like, you're not allowed to upload photos or something like that."
They have like their own version of TikTok and everything.
That's crazy.
Well, have you heard that their TikTok is incredibly smart? It's making you think. It's just making you learn and build as a person.
Yeah.
While our TikToks are the most stupid dances.
It's
you'll
like
ever see.
OnlyFans dancing.
Yeah, it's all tits and ass, like nothing but.
Yeah.
It's just stuff that, if you think about it, it's stuff that actually will make you stupid.
It's very westernized in that sense.
Well, it's almost targeted.
Yeah, true.
Have you ever like, I know I've done it occasionally, where like you'll be sitting there just scrolling through reels, scrolling. You look at the clock, it's been like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Happens
where
all the
has that
time.
gone?
Happens
Like,
to me all the time. I said to Lee once, I was like, back in the day when I didn't have anything to do, I was like, I could do 8 hours with ease. Just on TikTok, going through and finding shit, and then YouTube and going down the rabbit hole there. Never an issue. It's fucking, it's nuts how it plays with your dopamine. It's next level. Next bloody level.
What's that noise?
We just come up on an hour, boys.
Jeez.
Just like that.
Jeez Louise.
Might have to call it.
I'll have to call it. Alex, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it,
Appreciate
mate.
your time, mate. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Morokai CIVILIs, and we'll see you next one.
Boom.
Boom. How's the ambience?